Hi, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller. Welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a massive unhaul. At least I think it's going to be a massive unhaul. I'm starting with the small stack that I have in my library right now, and I'm hoping to just film clips as I unhaul things. Okay, so here's the problem. My library floor has accumulated a whole bunch of unhauls. These ones right here you've already seen in an unhaul vid, and then these are new ones that I've added, but I can't keep living like this. The clutter is just driving me crazy. So I'm going to film these ones, show you what I'm letting go, and list them on Pango, and then anything new that I decide to let go, I'll just film myself unhauling it, and then I won't end up with these stacks on the floor. Yeah, at this point it's kind of tradition to sit on the floor while I do an unhaul. I don't know why I do this to my body, but I've got an Autumn War by Daniel Abraham, Long Price Quartet, book 2, I think. This book is amazing. This series is amazing. And I keep ordering these books and they tell me, like, I'll email them, is this the standard size 9.5-inch hardcover? They'll say yes, and then the book club edition comes. Because for whatever asinine reason, the book club editions have the same ISBNs, or like international standard book number, on the back as the standard size hardcover. So there's no way for them to tell if they're just looking on a computer screen whether or not it's the right size. They have to have a small enough facility where they can go physically pull the book. It's a pain in the ass, but I've been trying to collect this one for a really long time. Next up, I'm letting go a few Terry Pratchett. I think they're original hardcovers. Here's the thing about these. I don't have book 1 in any one of these sub-series. I've got 2 and 3 of City Watch, and 4. I have what I think are 2 and 3 of the Death section, and then 3 books in the Witches, none of which are number 1. And I feel like I don't really love the classic hardcovers. They're kind of like wonky. The only redeeming quality about them is they're kind of all the same size, but yeah, I didn't really like these editions. So if I end up liking the series, I'm gonna find them in some sort of matching set that I really like. There's some like special edition hardcovers that are okay. I kind of do like the mass market paperback versions, so I don't know. I have time to think about what I want to do, and maybe one of these special edition publishers will come out with like a massive collection that I just will have to have, but we'll see. But I got to read the series first. But anyway, I think I'm okay letting go these, especially since I don't have the complete sets. And for hardcovers I don't really like in the first place, I'm not sure that I want to spend the time and money hunting down the ones I'm missing. So I have trade paperbacks of the Powder Mage series by Brian McClellan. This is a top 3 favorite series for me. I really love this one. The Broken Binding came out with special edition hardcovers, and even though I'm like not yet a subscriber, I have no idea where I'm at on the list, but I'm like dying to get on that list. I have since tracked down very overpriced secondhand copies of those editions, and now I don't need these ones. I feel okay letting these ones go. I also have first edition hardcovers in the series, not special editions, one of which is signed, and I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to let those go. I have a couple of advanced reading copies for the Wayward Children series, Where the Drowned Girls Go and Lost in the Moment and Found. Loved this one. But I have since replaced them in hardcover because I am collecting the entire series now. I got a couple of them for Christmas from my husband, so don't need these ones anymore, even though being sent books is so freaking cool that it's really hard to let go of a book that the publisher sent. But like at some point I've got to just let some things go or else I'm going to run out of room. I mean, you can kind of see from the shelves behind me I'm already out of room. I did a thing. I found the Broken Binding editions of the Lycanius trilogy by James Islington on Pango, ridiculously priced, so overpriced, but I bought it. I drained my entire like book budget and bought it. So now I have first edition hardcovers that I no longer need because they don't match. I like the kind with the circle with the color, not the solid like block edge. And 2 of my 3 books have that. So I no longer need to keep those. Hopefully selling some of these can help me recoup some of the money that I spent on the special editions. Like, ugh, so worth it though. Love this series, an all-time favorite. And I managed to find a standard size hardcover of this Journey to the Void, Volume 3 of the Sovereign Stone trilogy. I've been carrying this book club edition around for years and years, and I finally found one that matched the other two in the set. So, going with this one. And then last but not least, A Shadow in Summer, book 1 in the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. And this is actually a standard sized. I managed to find one in slightly better condition. I mean, even this one's not bad, but it's, you know, not as pristine as I wanted it to be. So I will be letting this one go as well. Quite a few really nice titles in this unhaul. So my goal is to get everything here listed and off the floor. And then I can maybe get a better handle on this because it's driving me crazy. And once they get listed, let me show you where they go. I have a staging area here where I package everything up and ship it out. And there's so many books in here that they're stacked like 2 deep. So here's the thing, if you're watching this video and you see anything you want, go on Pango. I've got a link in the description, and tell me you found the account through BookTube and I'll give you 50% off your order. Like anything you want. I just need to clear some space in here. Even my really nice special editions, like whatever it is, I'd rather give you guys 50% off because you already support the channel by watching. So yeah, hit me up. Ask me how long it has been since my last update. I have another big pile to go through today, and it'll probably wrap up this particular installment of my unhaul. And my intent with filming like this was to not let things pile up this high, because then I don't know where to put this stuff. And so I save them in here. They don't get listed immediately when I decide I'm going to unhaul them, because I want to wait for the unhaul video, because then I can list them on Pango, right? So there's all these roadblocks in the way from me being free of clutter in this library, but whatever. A few of these books we're getting rid of today are my husband's books. He has gotten into reading this year. He hasn't really read much over the course of his lifetime, but over the last year, he set his goal on Goodreads of reading like 52 books this year, and has well surpassed where he should be at that point to meet this goal, which I think is super cool. But when we went on this massive used bookstore trek a couple of years ago, he picked up a few random titles because, you know, I'm lost in the stacks for like hours at a time, and he needed something to keep himself occupied. So he found the Rendezvous with Rama series by Arthur C. Clarke. And these are like relatively decent copies. I think this one is an original of the first book, but he's decided that he'd rather have room on his shelves for a bunch of the Warhammer stuff that he's collecting. So we've got the classic Rendezvous with Rama that's getting listed. Rama Revealed. This one's actually a pretty nice one. Garden of Rama. And Rama 2. I haven't read these yet. I know Rendezvous with Rama is a classic. I plan to read them eventually, but I don't feel any need to hang on to these old editions. I'm actually kind of hoping, since the Broken Binding has a sci-fi sub-subscription now, whatever, that they'll eventually publish books in this series. But until then, clearing out some space. And speaking of sci-fi, I have books 1 and 2 in the Foreigner series by C.J. Cherryh. These are hardcovers that I picked up on Pango that I found slightly nicer copies. Though I'm offloading the slightly less nice copies, which is an expensive thing to do because generally the ones that I unload don't end up selling. So they just sit in another closet and money spent, whatever. So I have Inside Straits, a wild card novel by, well, edited by George R.R. Martin, but it includes a whole bunch of different authors. And the reason I picked this one up was because it had a short story by Daniel Abraham. I'm not going to read it. Like, I've been hanging on to this for years and years. The short story I was interested in is called Jonathan Hive. It's a short that is only published in these wildcard novels. There have been 3 so far. So if I read this one, then I need to go through the motions of getting the next 2 just to see how the story continues, progresses, whatever. And I am trying to value my time and my energy and my resources more than that. And even though Daniel Abraham is an all-time favorite author, I am letting myself be okay with letting go of things that, like, I don't have to read it all. Don't have to, like, absorb every single solitary word that he has produced. That being said, I'll probably still try to go back and read the MLN Hanover books he wrote under a pen name, obviously. It's an urban fantasy. The first one was just god-awful. But I can draw the line at a short story. Though I have these beautiful editions of The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, Gentleman Bastard series. I picked these up because of all the covers that they have done. There have been several different versions for this series. These ones were my favorite, but the Broken Binding is now publishing them in hardcover, like this exact set, and I've already got a copy of the first one. So I do not need more than one copy of his works, although I am hanging on to my original hardcovers for the series, but I don't need 3 copies of those books. More Arthur C. Clarke that my husband's offloading. 3001. 2061, Odyssey 3, 2010, Odyssey 2, and 2001 A Space Odyssey. It's like the top are sprayed edges, but I don't think it was publisher done. I just think someone did that because it amused them. It's kind of a grimy copy, but like I have no emotional attachment to these. It's funny, books in my house that I didn't buy, for some reason I have no problem letting go, but if I had bought those, like, I'd probably have a hard time letting them go. And then finally, a bunch of Warhammer books. He got really into Warhammer, started with the Horus Hearsay stuff, and it just started collecting everything. And then the further he got into that universe, the more he realized, you know, there are some stories that I really could, like, just don't care about and can use, would rather have the money from selling them than the books themselves. So we have Lord of the Night, Warhammer 40k, The Vulture Lord, part of the Age of Sigma, Pilgrims of Fire 40k, Belisarius Crawl 40k. I will say these have some really nice covers on them. Maybe not this one. Yarick the Omnibus, also 40k, and Eisenhorn the Omnibus 40k by Dan Abnett. Actually, I think he's the one that did the very first Horus Hearsay book. He's one of the better ones I hear. So offloading all of those. And then last but not least, but certainly cool, I have the hardcovers, broken binding editions of the Powder Mage series by Brian McClellan. So before I got on the subscription list, I panic bought. These were the unsigned editions. I snagged them just out of fear that I wouldn't be able to get the signed editions, and I ended up with the signed editions. So I spent a pretty penny, bought both sets, and now I think I'm finally ready to let this one go. Although, like, buying things on Pango, it's such a gamble. The person who shipped these to me, it's kind of hard to tell, but the box was absolutely beat to crap, and so all of these pristine hardcovers have a whole bunch of flaws now. So I am selling books with slight wearing on the edges of the dust jackets, but these are pretty freaking cool. Like, I don't know what else they would have done. I don't absolutely love the military aspect of these printings or whatever. Like, it's a military fantasy. What else would they have done? There's not a dragon to feature or anything, like little bookmarks and stuff. But I feel like the artwork does absolutely nothing to capture the essence of how the series felt to me. And then we've got some sprayed edges on them too. So that's everything. As I continue with Read Burn Hoard and a bunch of other projects and accumulating nicer editions of books, I'll probably offload even more and do another one of these over the next couple months, but I need to get all these books listed. I mention Pango a lot. It's Pango. It's a website where you can sell your own books. You upload them yourself, you ship them yourself, you manage everything. I love that I found it because I had a really hard time letting books go when I'm just donating them, especially since I know the charity shop that is local that I donate to ends up throwing away most of the books. Much easier to let them go when I'm selling them. And a couple of my viewers have told me that they found that site strictly because I've mentioned them in these videos and in my book hauls. And I am now a Pango ambassador, which basically means that if you find the website through my link and upload something, I get a kickback. I don't know what that kickback is yet, but it's better than me just promoting their site without getting anything for it, right? But I love it. I have made like $1,300 over the course of the last year on there. But the only thing to be aware of is that it is taxable, even though you're selling something that you've already paid money for. But the only thing to remember is that it is taxable income. So even though you're selling something that you've already paid taxes on a secondhand market, whatever. And here we have everything leaving my collection today. It'd be really nice to reclaim my floor space because I gotta say, this room It's looking pretty good at the moment.